week after. Synagogues seem to be dangerous places for God nowadays. After a quiet week visiting the villages around Capernaum, Jesus went to his local synagogue this morning and was invited to preach, as has become usual. This time, just before the end of the sermon, an opposition spirit charged in, riding on the spirit of a particularly troubled member of the congregation. They were followed by a forlorn-looking guardian angel. Using the poor man as a mouthpiece to ensure that all humans could hear, the opposition spirit shouted out, "What have you come here for, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us all? I know who you are. You are the son of..." "Be quiet," Jesus ordered, in a voice that demanded compliance, "and leave that man alone." The rebel spirit threw its hostage to the floor like a broken toy and fled the building twice as fast as it had entered, helped by a hefty shove from the man's guardian angel. The wiser members of the synagogue looked at Jesus with a new respect. They may not have understood what the opposition spirit was trying to tell them, but they certainly appreciated the fact that Jesus had confronted a rebel spirit and won with a knockout in the first round. One of them was the head of the local fishing fleet, a man named Simon. He invited Jesus to join his family for lunch. I must remember to congratulate Michael for doing nothing. That evening. The Sabbath is supposed to be a day of rest, but Jesus must be exhausted. Lunch at Simon's turned out to be much more than either a good meal or a relaxing one. Simon's wife is away and his mother-in-law is ill. The lunch, prepared in a hurry by Simon himself before the Sabbath began, was a mixture of undercooked and overcooked dishes. He may be expert at catching fish, but he certainly can't cook them. Jesus' first action was to visit the mother-in-law, who was sleeping in the corner of the house, and heal her. After that, the meal began to look more hopeful. Word that Simon's mother-in-law had been miraculously cured by the preacher quickly spread around the village. At sunset, as the Sabbath ended, just about everyone, especially anyone who was sick in any way, made their way to Simon's house by the water's edge. As Jesus healed one person after another, a carnival atmosphere began to develop. This came to a sudden end when a handful of opposition spirits gate-crashed the party, again riding the bodies and spirits of local people. Once again, I saw how skilled the opposition have become at using human beings. They seem to latch on to people who have in some way rebelled against my boss. Their plan today was clearly to uncover the facts of Jesus' full identity, but Jesus spotted them immediately and sent them packing before they could finish what they had to say. Again, Michael excelled himself by doing nothing. While the party atmosphere gradually returned to Simon's swollen household, Jesus slipped away for an early night. He has an appointment with his father and me early in the morning. Shortly after dawn, my boss called me into his office during the Earth Night and explained the agenda for our meeting with his son, most of which I'm not permitted to write here. When Matt nudged Jesus out of his slumbers, the boss and I transferred ourselves to the top of the grassy hill behind Capernaum and waited for Jesus to join us. Looking over Lake Galilee and watching the changes in the light as this part of the world spun into the rays of its yellow star, I caught a brief insight into the lives of men and women on planet Earth. Before long, we saw the shadowy figure of Jesus climbing slowly up towards us. He sat down, breathing heavily from the efforts of his morning walk. Prayer cannot be properly reported by the simple conventions of human conversation, and I'll not attempt to do so. But my appreciation of human life has grown rapidly today. After sharing insights into the Son's work so far, we turned our attention to the next phase of his mission. We'd only just begun considering the relative strengths and weaknesses of Jesus' new friends when a deputation of local villagers, led by the ever-enthusiastic Simon, interrupted us. As they puffed their way, red-faced, towards what they saw as the lone figure of Jesus, Simon's brother Andrew said, "We've been looking for you everywhere." Human speech can be laughably inaccurate. They urged Jesus to return to their village and pick up where they'd left off last night, teaching them and healing their sick. "I must travel through other towns and villages," Jesus replied. "They need to hear about my Father's love as well." His announcement was met with a disappointed, "Oh." No one quite knew what to say or do next. Jesus broke the silence. "I need some breakfast," he said. "Who wants to join me?" Immediately he jumped up and set off down the hillside, leading the band of crestfallen fishermen.